What if everything you believed about success, about time, about even who you are, was an illusion? Sounds crazy, right? But what if the real crazy thing is that we've built entire lives chasing after things that don't even truly exist? In a world that runs faster every second, where every minute seems stolen by notifications, deadlines, and endless expectations, it's easy to lose touch with what really matters. We were taught to race against time, to worship money as if it were the ultimate goal, to build an identity so carefully that one wrong move could shatter it. Yet deep down there's a quiet voice whispering, "Is this all there is?" Carl Jung, one of the greatest minds in psychology, once said that the ego is just a tiny fragment of who we are. It's a mask, a role we play. But beyond that role, there's something infinitely more powerful waiting to be discovered. Jordan Peterson reminds us that when we live without real purpose, we hand over the steering wheel of our lives to chaos. We become passengers instead of creators. Today we embark on a journey to see beyond the illusions that have quietly imprisoned us. Not by rejecting the world but by seeing it more clearly. By recognizing that time, money, ego, control, and fear are not rulers of our lives unless we choose to give them power. And here's the beautiful part. The moment you realize this, you don't need anyone's permission to break free. Take a deep breath. Feel this moment. Because today we're not just learning, we're remembering who we were always meant to be. Imagine living your entire life chasing a finish line, only to realize there was no race. That's how most of us experience time. We sprint from one deadline to the next, thinking if we just hurry fast enough, we'll finally make it. But Carl Jung taught us that time isn't a real entity we can touch. It's a mental structure we invented, a way to organize the uncontrollable flow of life. Jordan Peterson warns that when we fixate too much on the future, anxiety wraps itself around our minds like a snake, squeezing the joy out of the present. Elon Musk once said that in the early days of Tesla he slept on the factory floor working 20-hour days, not because he was chasing some distant dream, but because he was immersed in the present battle, solving immediate problems, not abstract fantasies. He wasn't running from time, he was rooted in the now. Alan Watts put it simply, the present is the only real time. The future is a concept, it doesn't exist. Think about it. If all we ever have is this moment, why do we sacrifice it worrying about the next? Now shift your attention to money. From an early age we are taught to see it as the ultimate prize, the symbol of security, success, and even happiness. But as Napoleon Hill revealed, true wealth isn't measured by the numbers in your bank account, but by the richness of your thoughts and dreams. Deepak Chopra echoes this truth, teaching that abundance is first a state of consciousness, not a figure on a paycheck. Walt Disney's story reminds us just how misleading money can be. Before Mickey Mouse became a household name, Disney filed for bankruptcy. He lost everything, except his vision. It wasn't a pile of money that rebuilt his empire. It was his ability to believe in possibilities that others couldn't see. Money didn't create Disney. Disney created value and money followed later. Then there's the ego, the fragile mask we all wear without even realizing it. Jung believed the ego is just the tip of the iceberg, a tiny fraction of our true self. It's not who we are but who we've been conditioned to believe we should be. Tolle teaches that suffering arises when we cling too tightly to this mask, when we believe that our titles, our roles, our reputation define us. Jeff Bezos understood this on a deep level when he made the risky decision to leave a stable Wall Street job to sell books online, an idea most people laughed at. He didn't let the identity of successful finance guy trap him. Instead he listened to something deeper. If he had clung to his ego's version of success, there would be no Amazon today. So here's a question worth sitting with. Are you living your life or just playing a role written for you by fear and expectation? Take a moment. Close your eyes. Imagine if there were no clock ticking, no money scorecard, no reputation scoreboard. Who would you be then? What would you truly want? You see, breaking free starts not by chasing harder, but by seeing clearer. And just when we think we've broken free from these outer chains, there's another trap waiting hidden deep inside. If breaking free from time, money, and ego sounds hard, what lies beneath is even trickier. The prison you can't see. It's the illusion of control, the hunger for validation, and the fear of change that quietly run the show behind the scenes. We all want to believe we're in control. Feels safer that way. But Jordan Peterson teaches that true control is an illusion. Life is unpredictable by nature. What we can have, though, is responsibility, the ability to respond to whatever life throws at us. That's real power. Carl Jung added that trying to force control over life often creates exactly what we fear most: chaos inside ourselves. Denzel Washington, in his famous Fall Forward speech, reminded us that failure is not the enemy. Fear of failure is. He said, "If you don't fail, you're not even trying." Think about that. Real control doesn't come from avoiding mistakes. It comes from having the courage to keep moving through them. Michael Singer goes even deeper. He teaches that surrender, not in weakness but in trust, is the real path to peace. Let go not because you give up but because you realize you were never supposed to hold everything so tightly in the first place. But if giving up control is one trap, seeking constant validation is another. Carl Jung described how much of our persona, the face we show the world, is built to gain acceptance, not to reflect who we truly are. Jim Rohn warned that when you work harder on being accepted than on becoming yourself, you lose both. Steve Jobs understood this better than most. In his legendary Stanford commencement speech, he urged young graduates, "Don't let the noise of others' opinions drown out your own inner voice." Jobs faced endless rejection early in his career, but he didn't let that define him. He didn't live for validation. He lived for creation. Validation feels sweet for a moment, but it quickly fades, leaving us emptier than before. Like a mirage in the desert, it promises satisfaction but delivers thirst. And underlying all of this is fear. Fear of not being good enough. Fear of losing status. Fear of being left behind. Carl Jung pointed out that fear is often the shadow of the parts of ourselves we've refused to accept. If we don't face it, it grows bigger, lurking behind every decision we make. Deepak Chopra teaches that life is a dance of birth and death, beginnings and endings. Change isn't a threat, it's the essence of life itself. Look at Anthony Bourdain's story. He struggled for decades in obscurity, battling self-doubt, addiction, and fear. It wasn't until he embraced uncertainty, stepping beyond fear, that he shared his authentic voice with the world, and changed it forever. Fear will tell you to stay small, stay safe, stay hidden. But you were never meant to live small. You were built for freedom, not for cages. So pause for a second. Feel your breath. What would your life look like if fear no longer wrote the script? Because only when we stop trying to control everything, stop begging for approval, and stop fearing endings, do we begin to truly live. But there's still one more layer to uncover. The deepest, most powerful liberation of all. So far, we've broken chains and faced hidden prisons. But the deepest freedom lies not in changing the world outside. It's in changing our relationship with ourselves. Most people live trapped inside their own minds without even knowing it. Jordan Peterson explains that thinking too much without action leads to despair. The mind creates endless loops, regrets about the past and fears about the future, but rarely does it help us live fully right now. Alan Watts said it clearly, "You are not your mind. You are the awareness that notices your thoughts, not the thoughts themselves." But how often do we mistake the endless chatter in our heads for the truth? Arnold Schwarzenegger's story shows what happens when you refuse to be trapped by a single identity. After dominating the world of bodybuilding, he could have stayed comfortable, a champion forever stuck in the past. But he didn't. He became a Hollywood icon, then a political leader. Arnold understood that he wasn't just a bodybuilder. He was a creator of himself, again and again. When we stop identifying with fixed labels, new possibilities open up. Carl Jung called this process individuation, the journey of becoming who you truly are, not who society expects you to be. It's a path of self-discovery, not self-perfection. Byron Katie, a modern voice of liberation, teaches that freedom begins when we question our thoughts, especially the ones that tell us we are not enough. Is it true? She asks. Just that one simple question can shatter lifelong illusions. J.K. Rowling knows this personally. Before becoming the world's most famous author, she was a single mother battling depression, living close to homelessness. It wasn't her circumstances that changed first. It was her relationship with herself. She chose to believe in her story even when no one else did. Authenticity isn't about perfection. It's about presence. And from authenticity springs autonomy, the power to live by your own light. Jordan Peterson stresses that responsibility is not a burden, it's liberation. When you own your choices, you own your life. You're no longer a victim of the past, no longer a hostage to fear. Napoleon Hill believed the same when he wrote, "Whatever the mind can conceive and believe, it can achieve." But first you must believe you are worthy of dreaming. Howard Schultz, the founder of Starbucks, grew up in a housing project far from any vision of success. Yet he dared to believe he could change not just his own life but the experience of millions. He didn't let poverty define him. He used it as fuel to build a new reality. And then there's Malala Yousafzai, who, after surviving unimaginable violence, chose not to stay silent or afraid. Instead, she found her voice, standing up for education and freedom, inspiring the world through courage rooted deeply in inner purpose. So here's the real question. Who are you beneath all the noise, the fear, the expectations? Take a moment. Place your hand over your heart. Feel it beat. That rhythm is yours. It always was. It doesn't ask for permission. It doesn't beg for approval. It just is. And so are you. The greatest revolution you will ever lead is the one within yourself. You've seen it now, haven't you? The clock that once ruled you is just a number ticking away. The money you once chased is just paper dressed up as meaning. The identity you wore like armor is just a story someone else started writing for you. Carl Jung taught us that the true self isn't something you build. It's something you uncover. It's the silent, steady presence underneath all the noise. Jordan Peterson reminds us that the path to real freedom isn't easy. It's earned through radical responsibility, the courage to own your story, even the broken parts. You were never just the job you have. You were never the money in your account. You were never the fears they taught you to carry. You are a living, breathing revolution. You are proof that the world doesn't define you, you define yourself. Imagine waking up every day not chained by yesterday's mistakes, not worried about tomorrow's outcomes, but fully alive right here, right now. Imagine leading your own revolution, starting with the way you see yourself. Because the truth is, you don't need permission to change your life. You don't need permission to be free. You just have to say yes. If this message stirred something inside you, you're not alone. There's a whole community of people waking up just like you. If you're ready to keep building this revolution within, hit that like button, subscribe, and share this message with someone who needs it today. And most importantly, remember that the most powerful thing you can ever do is to simply be fully, unapologetically, beautifully yourself. Your new life isn't waiting for you. It's already here. It begins right now. Hey, incredible growth seekers. Wow, what a journey. If this video resonated, subscribe now for more life-changing content. Join our community of self-improvers. Smash that like button to fuel more content on mindfulness, goal setting, and emotional intelligence. Share this video to create a ripple of positive change. Comment below about your growth journey. Your insights shape our content. Next week, boosting self-confidence and overcoming limiting beliefs. Don't miss it. Every interaction brings us closer to a world of empowered individuals. Let's make personal development global. Stay inspired, keep growing. Your best self awaits. Let's unlock it together.